What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Paula's A Theory with me, Paula's A. Of course, I'm Paula's A, right? And you're the audience. So, today, I wanted to come on here and talk about something that I feel like is vitally important. And what I'm going to talk about relates to a quote that I actually posted on my TikTok earlier. And I'm going to read it out to you for reference in case you did not see it. I'm going to read it out to you for reference. So, hold on, I'm trying to pull it up right now, real quick. And the quote is, as you begin to love yourself, you will find that pain and suffering are only warning signs that you are living against your own truth, right? And I think this is so important because we look at the things that trigger us. We often look at the things that trigger us as signs of life not going our way, as signs of like, oh man, life is just not treating me fair and things just aren't happening in my life how I want them to happen. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay because in essence, it's showing you how to show up for yourself differently. It's giving you the opportunity to show up for yourself differently. So anytime you're experiencing some discomfort, or if you're experiencing something in your life right now that is just unpleasing to you, this is an indicator that's letting you know there's something needs to change, that there is a shift, and this is the opportunity for you to shift, right? And oftentimes what happens is we tend to go with the latter. We tend to go with things that are comforting for the person that we feel victimized by, right? And that's really a strong word to use, victim, right? But in most cases, it happens when we are having experiences with other people, right? And I think it's important to understand that these triggers, this pain and this suffering, it's not designed for you to just stay in, but it's designed for you to overcome. Ah, got some hair in my mouth. It isn't designed for you to stay in, it's designed for you to overcome. It's designed for you to conquer and to become a better version of yourself, or at least to show up as the greatest version of yourself. But the thing about it is, we don't know how to do that. Like, if you're not doing the work on yourself, if you're not equipping yourself with tools to overcome certain things when you have certain experiences, then you're going to continue to go down the same path of having these experiences and being a victim, or further being victimized by the circumstance that you're experiencing, right? And so I wanted to give you a couple of things that I feel like can really help you along your journey, especially if you're somebody who hasn't fully developed the confidence or the skills to overcome whatever it is that you're experiencing. I'm going to give you a couple of things. I'm going to give you some lessons, some applications, and the core idea behind that phrase that I just gave you, right? I'm going to give you a couple of things. So the core idea, I'm going to break it down too. I'm going to break the sentence down. So pain and suffering reveals, right? Reveals where your personal boundaries have been crossed by others or by yourself. This is the core idea of the middle part of that quote, right? But here's the lesson in it. When you truly love yourself, you'll notice discomfort when you said yes when you really meant no, or when someone else has imposed demands on your time, energy, and values. So this is the first step in recognizing it, right? When it feels like a hard no, but you give a yes anyway. That's the first indicator. And I know I was like that too along my journey, where I felt like it was so hard to just say no because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I was just trying to be considerate of other people in the situation. But the one person that I was not considering in the situation was me, how I felt about it. And I think that's the first person you need to consider in any situation you find yourself in. If it is a no for you, it is a no for you. It doesn't matter how anybody feels. It doesn't matter if somebody tries to convince you, like, man, come on, it's just X, Y, and Z. Like, come on. It doesn't matter. If it's a no for you, it's a no for you. Leave it at that. And here's some applicable steps that you can use in the moment, in the present moment. Pause at a moment of irritation, resentment, or exhaustion. Pause at these moments, right? When you're feeling irritated or you're feeling some sort of resentment or you're feeling exhausted, just take a moment and just pause. Don't respond, don't react, just pause, right? Gather yourself. Figure out what has happened in whatever the situation is, right? Really analyze what has happened in the situation. And the second thing you want to do is recognize what boundary has been crossed just now, right? Recognize, okay, what boundary has been crossed? What boundary has been crossed? What boundary has been crossed in this moment? And then the third step is take small action to reinforce that boundary. Rather it be politely declining or just setting a time limit or simply just speaking up, right? You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be mean about it. But you could just say, nah, I'm good. Appreciate the thought though, but I'm good, right? I know in the beginning, sometimes you just want to harshly just say no because you've been saying yes all your life and that feels like the right thing to do. But then you come off as a jerk or an a-hole because it's like, well, dang, you ain't had to say it like that. But if you're somebody who's never set boundaries before or somebody who's never spoken up for themselves, it's going to come out harshly, right? But it's not on the person. It's on the fact that you never said anything for such a long time and you allowed that resentment, that irritation, that exhaustion to build up in you. So be gentle with your rejections, right? Be gentle with your rejections. Be mindful, I would say. I think that's a better way to put it. Be mindful with your rejections and how you're rejecting others and how you feel about the situation so that way everybody walks away pain-free, right? The second point we're going to talk about is called the compassion of inner narrative. I don't know if I said what the first one was called. The first one was called the mirror of boundaries, right? I'm going to put these in the screen as well so you can read them for yourself. But the mirror of boundaries, right? The second part we're going to talk about is called the compass of inner narrative. This is called the compass of inner narrative. The core idea behind this is suffering points to stories you're telling yourself that aren't true to who you are. That's where the key suffering comes from. So that's like if you're saying yes to something, but you're telling yourself, well, this is for a friend and they've always looked out for me. So, I want to look out for them, or whatever excuse that you give yourself to just go through with the thing, even though it was a no for you initially. You're going to find some sort of excuse for you to just do it anyway. Even though it was a hard no, like you was like, I really don't want to do this. Really don't want to do this. But you know what? Excuse. Sure, fine. I'll do it. Right? That's usually how it happens. And so you have to learn. I'm going to just give you the lesson. Right here. When you love yourself, you begin to hear the inner critic or the limiting narrative of I'm not good enough or I have to please others, right? And this pain arises when you buy into those stories instead of your deeper truth. So that goes back to what I said just now. You give yourself an excuse to say yes when you know it's a hard no for you. You give yourself an excuse to say yes when you know it was a hard no. I know I don't want to do this. But that stems from a lack of love for yourself. That stems from the lack of understanding of who you are truly. And the thing about it is, you've been telling yourself this lie for so long that it's hard to determine who you really are. It's hard to really see yourself for who you really are. So when it feels like a no, you kind of confuse yourself in saying, well, is it really a no or is it something else, right? You start to come up with this narrative in your mind, right, of why you're saying no. When you feel like it should be a yes, but that's just the real you trying to come to the surface of all of the BS that you've piled on top of it, right? With all the yeses and doing all the things that you know you weren't comfortable with, right? That's where that's coming from. So, yeah, moving on. Here's some applicable steps that you can use right now so that way you can really get to the truth of who you are and stand firm on what you believe in and what you say. Notice reoccurring negative thoughts at a moment of distress. And I think this is the most important thing. Like, I truly believe that our emotions are indicators of where we are in the present moment. And so if you feel like back when we talked about in the first one, if you feel any irritation, any discomfort, any exhaustion, whatever the case is, that is an indicator letting you know that we don't like this and something needs to be done about it. Either you're going to continue down the path or you're going to take the other route. There's only two ways you can go about this. The second part is label the story. Ooh, I ain't gonna lie, when I read this, I thought this was so powerful, right? Label the story. Call it, that's the not enough story, right? That's just for an example, but whatever narrative that you've created for your life, label it so that way you can recognize it when it comes up. Like, oh, that's the always say yes story, or oh, that's the gotta look out for my friend story, or that's the we have so much history together story, right? When you start to label your stories, you're able to identify them quicker, so that way you can pivot quicker. So that way you don't fall for the narrative of all of those titles, right? You don't fall for it anymore. You just know for a fact that, okay, this is the story that I've been telling myself for so long, and I'm choosing to rewrite that story starting now. Oh, this is the looking out for my friend story. Guess what? Nah, I ain't going for that story no more. Nah, I gotta do what's best for me, right? Hey, look, I can't do that right now. And guess what? There's gonna be a disruption in that, because at first you're gonna feel like they're gonna be like, huh? Because they're so used to you just acclimating to whatever it is that they got going on. So when you actually start to resist, when you actually start to say no, they start to look at you funny, like, what? Like, what do you mean? No, like, you always go with it. Like, what are you talking about, right? And so they look at you differently. And you kind of look at yourself differently too, because there's going to be a sense of guilt in you because you've said yes for so long. And so there's going to be a sense of guilt. You're going to feel bad or whatever the case is, but that's just part of the purging process. That's a part of the narrative changing process. And it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's going to be uncomfortable for a while. But after some time, you're going to start to see that you are actually being true and authentic to who you are. But again, it takes time. You have to be patient with yourself. It's not going to be an easy process. It's going to take time. So continue to show up for yourself and continue to choose yourself in every single aspect of your life, because nobody is going to choose you more than you. Nobody is going to benefit you more than you, right? And the final part is counter with a true statement rooted in self-love. Saying things like, I'm already whole, or I learn as I go, or I appreciate who I am in this moment, or I appreciate who I'm becoming in this moment. So those are some narratives that you can start creating for yourself to start cultivating the self-love for yourself. Because it's one thing to stand up for yourself, but then it's another thing to actually tell yourself why you did it. And that is a whole nother ball game in itself. So you start creating things like, I said no because I value my time. Or I said no because I understand that this situation is not going to benefit me. And so now you're creating these new narratives in your story that help you to grow and evolve, rather than penning a narrative that is actually going against who you're truly becoming. And this puts you on a different trajectory to really start flourishing in life and really start to weed out the people that are actually truly genuinely for you. And that is the most important part. You get the people that don't necessarily serve you out of your life, and you have the people to come into your life or stay in your life that actually do. Right? You know what? I'm going to tell you why this matters too. I don't think I told you the last part, but I'm going to tell you why this matters too. So rewriting your inner narrative aligns with your mind, right? But let me tell you, let me say it different. Hold on. I read it too fast. Hold on. Rewriting your inner narrative aligns your mind with your authentic self. Pain then becomes the prompt to edit your story, not a verdict on your worth. That's, so let that marinate for a moment. Pain then becomes the prompt to edit your story, not a verdict on your worth. You see? Hey, if you need to hear that again, just play that back. Just play that back, because that's powerful. You are literally changing your self-worth. You are increasing your value. What? Bruh, your value is going up. And as a result, the people who match your value are showing up. Moving on. And this is the third and final step, right? This is the invitation to growth, right? And so the core idea behind this is discomfort. Discomfort is an invitation to evolve. Each ache signals an area ripe for transformation. So every pain that you feel is an indicator letting you know that this is an opportunity for you to transform and transcend, right? So discomfort, like I said, emotions, right? Emotions are an indicator letting you know where you are in each and every moment of your life. And so using these emotions allow you to figure out where you are and where you want to be in each aspect of your life. And here's the lesson behind it. Self-love means seeing yourself as worthy of growth. Pain shows you where you have potential you haven't yet realized. Let me say that one more time. Self-love means seeing yourself as worthy of growth. Pain shows you where you have potential you haven't yet realized. So pain is literally showing you that you have the potential to grow here. But it doesn't seem that way in the beginning. It doesn't feel like growth in the beginning, right? That old saying of growing pains is actually true. Like, there's some things that hold you back, and then there's actual growing pains that allow you to grow past whatever it is that you're feeling. And so, yeah, pain is just unrealized potential. That's a bar. Write that down. And here's some applicable steps that you can use. When you feel stuck or distressed, ask yourself this. What skill, understanding, or perspective is this pain inviting me to develop? What skill, understanding, or perspective is this pain inviting me to develop? And how can I develop myself, right? What aspect of myself can I develop right now as a result of what I'm feeling? Should it be speaking up? Should it be saying no more? Should it be standing on what it is that I say I believe in? Is it just cementing your beliefs? Whatever it is, be invited to the evolution of your process, right? Be invited to that. Like, don't just close yourself off to that. Open yourself up to the invitation of evolution in your life, because there is change waiting for you to walk through. Yeah. Number 2, outline tiny growth steps. So example could be like learning a new communication technique, practicing patience, or seeking feedback, right? Outlining a tiny growth step. So this is just basically outlining or writing out in the areas that you've grown, right? So it could be like I said, communication. Like, you can just have communication, and you can have a list of ways that you have improved in your communication skills, right? Like the way you speak up for yourself, or the way that you talk to others, or the way that you talk to yourself, right? All of these things are communication skills, and these allow you to actually track how you're evolving in each and every area of your life. So it could be anything, right? It could be anything that speaks to your growth and your self-love. It could be maybe an instrument that you practice, right? Like you're getting better at that every single day. Whatever it is for you, make an outline for it so you can start to track your growth and see how you're growing. And number 3, and I think this one is the most important, celebrate your progress. However small it may be, Celebrate your progress. Celebrate the little wins. Celebrate the fact that you stood up for yourself, or celebrate the fact that you actually said something in the process of whatever it is that you were feeling that caused some discomfort. Celebrate it. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's worth celebrating, right? And let me tell you why this matters. Embracing pain is an invitation that reframes suffering from something to... Oh wait, let me rephrase that. Embracing pain as an invitation reframes suffering from something to avoid into something to welcome. This mindset shift fuels continual self-development. So again, it's turning your pain into passion, or turning your pain into something that allows you to grow and evolve. And so anytime you feel a little bit of discomfort, you don't run away from it. You actually run towards it, and you figure out, why am I feeling like this? And you're actually asking yourself the question instead of just going along with things that riddle you with discomfort, right? And that's why I felt like this topic really mattered, because I feel like there's someone out there who feels this way. And this speaks to a high level of self. And with everything that's going on in the world, we all need a deeper level and understanding of who we are before we actually go out to the world and present ourselves as such. Because there are people out there who will take advantage of the fact that you don't really truly know who you are, right? And so once you start to cultivate that self, that understanding of who you are internally, that's when you start to grow. That's when you start to evolve. That's when you actually start to see who you're becoming as a result, instead of looking for a result, right? And that's it. That's all I had to share with y'all today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Thank you for allowing me to be on this journey with you. And I truly believe we do better when we grow together. So let's continue to grow one another. If you found this helpful, inspiring in any way, shape, or form, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell to get notified whenever I post another video. And leave a comment letting me know what you learned from this, what notes you took from this, and how you're going to stand up for yourself and love yourself more today. And yeah, that's it. Peace and progress. And until next time, stay blessed.